Welcome to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast, connecting real people with expert advice to achieve a healthier lifestyle and live a more fulfilling and abundant life. Here is your host, Coach Tavia.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Tavia Morse, and I have a special guest this week with me, Miss Hanna. Hello, Hanna. Hanna, are you there?
Hi, this is so sweet. I'm here. I'm shining and smiling and so happy to be a part of this.
Yeah. You're so just a little intro about Miss Hanna. Hanna is a certified business coach and success trainer. She helps coaches and entrepreneurs build brands that afford their freedom. Her philosophy is that dream life, is real life. And she teaches mission-driven brands now to create more streams of income, contribution, and purpose in their daily lives. Whew, I love it. You can find her on Forbes. You can find her in Amazon Books. And of course, her website, www.dreamlifeisreallife. And on Instagram, of course. And you will find photos of her traveling and eating burritos with her husband and our beautiful Labradoodle, Madison. So please welcome.
So good. So many good things.
Hanna Hermanson, right? Did I say that right?
Hermanson,
sorry.
But all good. Yeah.
I know. We all have different names. I have Salvadorina.
I've never attempted your other last name, so I can't. Yeah.
For those, and maybe people out there want to know. Yeah, Salvadorina. It's Italian.
Beautiful.
So, but I go by Morse because Morse code, and it's pretty easy to remember. It sounds like horse. So
I know how to say it and spell it, and that's important these days. So yeah.
So Miss Hanna, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're on. I wanted to bring you on to my podcast today because, well, first of all, I want to give some background information of how I know you. And so a lot of the viewers don't know how you and I know each other. And we actually met in another coaching, I guess it'd be a coaching program, if you will. And you actually became my mentor for over a year. And that's kind of how we met. And you helped me launch my business, get it up and running, and kick my booty into gear and all of the things. So that's how we met. And then come full circle 2021, goodbye 2020. And then we have continued our journey. And Hanna has been helping me continue to build my dream life, which is becoming my real life. And it's happening. So, but furthermore, I want to talk about you, though. I want to get to the nitty gritty of what's going on with you, because, girl, you just moved from the States down to Mexico like a month ago, right?
Yeah. We've been in this house for exactly a month today.
Oh, it's been a month. Oh my gosh. So you packed up your shit. And you, even your dog, and you and your husband left Sacramento and just said, what the heck? And you just packed it up and said, we're going to Mexico. I want to know how did that come about? And what is that about? Why did you guys do that? And what made you do that?
Yeah, it's exactly the what the heck mentality. And it's not the first time that I have done this. So I actually grew up in small town, Wisconsin, and did all of the right things to land myself a nice 9-to-5 job, and was a 23-year-old who was really excited to have a 401k and a Toyota Corolla and go show up with my packed lunch every day for about 4 months, working the traditional life and, adulting, if you will.
Yeah.
Until I wanted to kind of crawl out of my skin and find a different way of being. And so I actually, for the first time 4 years ago, left everything. I quit my job, packed up 5 Rubbermaid containers, and flew to San Francisco to take a risk on a startup job in San Francisco. That didn't work out, as startup jobs can do.
Yeah.
But I've always had this what the heck? I'll take the risk. I'll try the job. I've had a lot of privilege. I've had a lot of opportunity, and I've had a lot of naivete that has allowed me to just pick up and leave and move. So, I mean, in the last 4 years, I've lived in San Francisco. Then my then boyfriend, now husband, and I, we lived in our backpacks for 10 months in Central America. And then we moved back to Sacramento, and then we got quarantined there for longer than we anticipated. But it's always been a dream of mine to find a home base, to find a place that lets me spread my wings, do what I want, and hustle just enough, if that makes sense. So I don't believe that life is for working. I love my work and I love helping people create businesses and earn money on their own terms. But I think there's so much more than just waiting until retirement or like taking a vacation to do what you actually love.
Exactly.
And that's really why we're here, to experience life fully while we can. And while we have the privilege to do so.
Right. And yes, yes to everything you said. And I wish I did a little bit of what you did when I was in my 20s. But I didn't do the extreme that you did. But I actually lived in Sacramento too. I think I told you that. And I packed up my shit, and I got out of the state that I grew up in, Washington State. And I was like, forget this. And I just started all over and everything. And I feel like, a lot of times as the listeners are listening out there, one thing that I really want to emphasize and why I brought you on is because what the heck is dream life? Everybody dreams. Everybody has a dream, right? But a lot of us don't take action. We don't take action upon those dreams, and you're doing it. And that's why I love you. And I love this because, I think it's so important, especially right now in this pandemic and the way the world is changing right now. We get so sucked into negativity. We get so out of sort or out of the loop of our dream and actually living it. And the second part of that too is like you said, you went to college with my friend Russell Wilson. Shout out to Go Hawks. Yes, folks, she knows Russell Wilson.
We were in college at the same time in the same place. So, I can claim a few Subway restaurant, run-ins. Totally.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So now I got to get back on track because I'm talking about Russell Wilson here, and he has a podcast that I love too. But anyways, we get so, go to school, go get your college degree, get that job, start planning, and getting that retirement going and blah, 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 and then live for your retirement, right? And then once retirement comes in, you travel. That's kind of like the old school way of thinking, right? But I feel like the Gen Xers, the Gen Y, the Gen Now, all of those, I think that is changing. And I hope it is. And I want it to change because that's not going to exist so much anymore, is that retirement. And the other part of it too, with me going undiagnosed for 10 years, being sick, I had an epiphany too in my life. And I was like, I'm not going to just be a real estate agent for forever in my life and just be stuck here. That's why I started my health coaching, because I wanted to travel. My husband's a pilot. And so I want to travel. I want to travel when I'm young and healthy. And you're doing it now. And I love that. I love that. So tell me a little bit more about, so you and Mac packed it up to you're in Merida. Is that how you say it? Merida, which is.
To English speakers, it's Merida.
Merida.
Spanish speakers, it's Merida.
Merida. Okay. I know Spanish un poquito. So you're there and you have basically the clothes on your back, right?
And our dog.
And your dog in tow. And you're renting a place now. And tell me what life is like now. Tell me what your dream life is, what your life's like.
Yeah. And before I want to go back to something you said there about like the old school thinking and the pandemic. And like, here's the deal, you guys, no matter where you are, when you were born, or what is happening with, health and pandemics and, novel COVID viruses, there are always going to be excuses.
Yeah.
There will always be a comfortable couch on the weekends that you could just hang out on. There will always be that voice in your head that says you're too young, or you're too old, or you're too big, or you're too small, or you're too ready, or you're not ready enough. There will always be excuses and voices from inside and outside that will encourage you to stay small, play safe, and just stay in your comfort zone. Don't get off the couch. Don't take risks. You might have to wear a mask out there, right? There's always something.
Yeah.
every generation.
100%.
And so it's not easy. It's not easy to pack up and leave. And I say I had a lot of privilege, but even, young, naive, white girl, whatever, like I still had a lot of, challenge and pushback. And so I'm always cautious to like, be like, yeah, now it's just like sunshine and roses and I'm practically a unicorn. And like, I never have negative feedback or I never have fear, because signing up for your dream life isn't about just farting rainbows, right? It's about being willing to be extremely uncomfortable and work harder or do things that other people aren't even willing to do.
Yeah.
So you can have things that other people don't have.
Right.
Yeah. So my dream life is right now, yes, we're living in Mexico. We're saving a bunch of money because living in California is like ridiculous what you can get. We're spending less for a 2-story, 2-bedroom house with a pool than we were for a little small shared apartment in Sacramento. So I've just made choices, right? I've just said, I'd rather have a slower pace of life and a pool in the backyard. And let me figure out how I can do that. Right. Because again, like old school thinking maybe is like, well, you have to save and get a mortgage and, get married and then get pregnant, like whatever. There's all these other timelines about where you're supposed to find your house and how it's supposed to go. And I've really just challenged that and been willing to experiment and sometimes fall on my face. Like I said, this isn't the first time we tried to pack up and live at the beach. Yeah, we did that with no structure in our business. And that wasn't fun in 2018. But yeah, now we're here. We're renting this house. My husband and I work together in our business. We work with amazing people like Tavia, and we do that in like less than 20 hours a week. So the rest of the time we can do what we love before retirement, like you're saying.
Right. I love it. And so a viewer listening out there being like, I want to do that. I want to do that. Like, what would be an advice? What would you say? What it would be the first step if someone's like, God, she's like my idol. Like, oh my God, I want to do this.
Well, stop thinking and just do it. Like the more you think about it, the more you weigh your pro con, the more you ask people who have their own opinions and their own limiting beliefs, the more you're going to slow yourself down. So we actually had flights for April 7th, 2020 to come to Mexico.
Oh, really?
We had told our parents on Valentine's Day, 2020, kind of broken their hearts, I think, that we're moving back to Mexico. We're doing this thing again. Yeah. And in between telling everyone our decision and actually going, enter COVID. So we had a few months of preparing and getting everything in place and then changing everything and then sitting back in our apartment for a year and getting to think over everything and be fed fear, right? Of like, you can't do it now, especially now. Oh, and I turned 29. So that means that, I'm almost done. I got to start, really figuring out my life now. I can't have any more fun. And so I observed over the last year, my own limiting beliefs, the feedback of others, the fear from the news, the hesitation because of this pandemic, because of this extreme experiment that we're all in. Yeah. And after a while, it was like, what the heck? Let's wear a mask. Let's get a test. Let's learn what we need to learn and just go. Because the more you think about it and the more you talk about it and the more you ruminate about it, the more obstacles you put in front of yourself. So yeah. I'm a rip the Band-Aid type of person, right? I just march in and I quit jobs and I just book flights and I just figure out what I need to figure out. Because again, there always will be fear. There will always be pushback.
Right. Yeah.
You got to trust yourself and know that if you leap and you land or you need to sooner than you think, or you need to like get a parachute or you need to call for help, like you can always do that.
Right.
You can always move back to Sacramento. Right. You can always like get another job. And again, this is a lot of privilege. I want to acknowledge that.
Right.
But to grow, you have to take risks.
Absolutely. And I also want to mention this. You didn't talk about this. Is you got married last year in the middle of the pandemic. Let's just throw that in.
Not the way we had planned. Again,
right. You had to like rearrange that and stuff. So you packing it up to Mexico. Oh, let's get married in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, you're a little cray cray to some people that would be listening out there. But that's the thing though. The other,
all are. You know what, Tavia, you know this too. There are so many people who waste their life trying to be normal and like peel off all these things about themselves and try to fit into these boxes and be this and that and please everyone. But like, that's way more exhausting to me than to just like put up my crazy out there and say, that's what we're doing.
Exactly. And I like what you said it too. I'm like, you can always go back to Sacramento. And that's, I went to Sacramento and I went there for about a year and then it didn't work out. And I did come back home and it was fine. And everything else kind of fell into place, So there's always comfort there. There's always going to be another solution if something doesn't work out. So I want to talk about how you transitioned from like corporate world into what you're doing now to be an entrepreneur. Did you always kind of have an entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurial mind growing up? Or was like, no, were you just like, no, I was going to do the traditional route of college and get a job, blah, blah, blah. Tell me about that shift or tell me about that.
Yeah, no, I was not the girl like selling lemonade or like trading baseball cards, like that entrepreneurial. Okay. However, I had ambition. I had this thing inside of me that I felt like I had something to say. So when I was in 6th grade, I was average tomboy. Like I got along with people, but I wasn't popular. I just like did the right thing. And I was like friends with people. But in 6th grade, there's an opportunity to run for class president. And there was something in me that was like, I need to do that. And I did my little speech and whatever. And then I did the same thing, 7th grade, 8th grade. I was class president for 6 years. And I think there's something that now when I look back, there was a sleeping giant, right? I did the right thing. I wanted to please my classmates, but I also wanted to make a change. I wanted to make a mark. I wanted to leave an impact. And I saw the opportunity to, be a leader, to put signs up in the cafeteria that were inspirational and to paint the hallway brighter colors and, those things that I accomplished as class president. But then I channeled that leadership into like the standard boxes of like, well, then I'm going to get A's in college and I'm going to get a good job and I'm going to please people at my job. But again, there's like what Tony Robbins calls a sleeping giant of like, there's something in me. I need to like get out. I need to create. I need to leave an impact. I need to blaze a different trail. And so although I wasn't the like business minded person, I was always thinking about legacy and impact in some way. And so being confined to a 9-to-5 didn't align with that for me.
Yeah. Right. I can so relate to that. So I grew up my parents are both real estate brokers. So I grew up in a very entrepreneurial, minded, spirited household where my parents didn't live paycheck to paycheck. It was like, maybe we'll get a paycheck, So, and I was the Girl Scout and I would always sell the cookies and I was opposite of you. And so I kind of learned later on, I was always kind of doing the things you weren't doing it until 6th grade, of course. But I feel like it doesn't matter when we started that, it was in us at some point. And I really want to tell the listeners out there, if you can connect or resonate with either Hanna or I on this, like, is there that fire in you? Is there that underlying like, oh, I'm not doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing. There's something better for me to be doing. I want you to really hone in on that. I want you to really focus on that and either reach out to another coach or Hanna or I, and let's try to get that dream life that you so desire, that you so deserve. And let's focus on that and get that. And, I went from real estate into being coaching and totally different things, a people business. I love both of them and for different reasons, but the bottom line is that I remember being so sick and saying, there's something I'm supposed to be on this planet to do. And it's not selling homes or property. It's, I need to make an impact on someone's life. And did you ever feel that? Well, obviously you kind of said that too. You felt that as well. You're like, there's something else I should be doing. And I feel like there's so many people out there right now that are feeling that, but they just don't know what to do next.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, it manifested into disease. So when I was working my 9-to-5 and I felt like I had something I needed to be doing bigger and better, I didn't know where to put that. I didn't know where to go with that as an adult. You don't just run for class president. And I got wrapped up in an eating disorder that, really, that was my rock bottom for sure. I was admitted to the hospital. They were monitoring my heart. I passed out on the bathroom floor because I wasn't eating or taking care of myself. And that journey led me to therapy and a lot of other great tools. And I'm really grateful now. Yeah. And it was in therapy for an eating disorder that I was asked, what do you really want to be remembered for? Because I had been chasing a marathon finish line. I had been chasing a weight on the scale. I had been chasing how few almonds can I eat in a day? My head was just so consumed in dieting and restricting and being the skinniest and being the fastest that I wasn't thinking about anything outside of the scale. And I didn't have an answer at the time. And my therapist was like, well, just think about if you want to be remembered for running marathons and cutting carrots in half, or maybe something else. Yeah. And I left that conversation with a totally different lens. And I know when you're sick, your only goal is to feel better. Yep. Or your only goal is to get to that next release.
Yes.
But when you get healthy, you start to have so many more goals. And that's when I started getting healthy and I started thinking less about me and these, this stuff I had going on in my head around food and exercise. And I started to travel, and I spent a summer teaching in Africa. And then I went to Nepal, and I just started to see the world as so much bigger than me and my pain and suffering. And again, I know when you're sick, you have one goal, but when you get better, and like Tavia, you've done, and you can turn your mess into your message, like you say, you can turn your pain into your purpose.
Yep.
That's really when I think dream life starts to unfold, because you're aligned, you're healthy, and you're in service.
Absolutely. Gosh, I couldn't have said that any better. I really couldn't. Gosh. And thanks for sharing about the, I never knew that part about you, about the eating disorder. And that's a big deal. I deal with that a lot with a lot of my clients too. So let's kind of wrap this up, Hanna. And first of all, I have some fun questions for you. Let's do some fun questions. But before I do that, actually, before the fun questions, I want to ask you one last thing. If there's anyone out there that's can resonate again with you being on this podcast right now, or me, whatever, what's an advice you want to give to someone out there that's struggling right now and just I just don't know what to do. I just don't know where to go. What's your message?
Yeah. If the concern is you don't know where to go or what to do, then reach out to someone that you admire. I only take on mentors that I would change lives with, so this doesn't always mean the richest or the most successful person, but find people. Now it's so easy on social media, reach out, ask for some mentorship or some advice from people who have a life that you want. But I also really think that you do know what you want if you're listening to this. If you're listening to Sweet Life podcast and you've been connected to Tavia, you know what you want. And so that's when it comes down to making a bold decision. And this is back from my eating disorder thing. I was talking today about quit your job, move to Mexico, get married, all this stuff. I had to progress up to taking those kind of bold actions. But I started with deciding I'm going to have pizza for dinner because I want it. Yeah. And so if you can start practicing just choosing the things that you want day to day. I'm wearing that shirt, even though I wore it yesterday because it makes me feel so good. And if you really don't know what you want, just start with those little baby decisions every day of having what you want, owning that decision, being decisive, because with that confidence, with that muscle that you're building of decisiveness, you'll start to see, wow, I have pizza every Friday for dinner. And I also am taking all these other crazy risks. So start where you are, reach out to someone who's where you want to be, but also just start deciding to be decisive today on what you want.
Make the decision. Just make the choice, make the decision. I think sometimes that's the hardest part. It's just making the decision. I know with my clients.
Back to this, what the heck? What the heck?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. Totally. Awesome. Okay. So a couple rapid fire questions. What's your favorite color?
Ocean.
Ocean
color. All the shades of blue, aqua.
Okay. Awesome.
Seafoam. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Where's your favorite place you've traveled?
China, because we were on they took care of us. We went with this retired, again, we travel with retirees. So we were on this little bus and they took care of us, and we were with all these retired people, and we had 3 meals a day. And sometimes when we travel, it's a lot of stress of figuring things out. So we had a great time in China pre-COVID.
That's awesome. Can you sing?
Nope, but I can lip sync.
What's your favorite song or genre of music? Or if you were that's your jam, what's your favorite?
Most Things by Pink. I'm really into girl power. I'm going to run this out and be a boss babe. Yeah.
Beyonce, who runs the world, girls.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your favorite season?
Summer, June, the month of June.
What's your dream car?
I'm so not into cars. Maybe a Subaru Outback that runs on an orange Subaru Outback. I sound like such a Californian. That runs on not gas. What's the other option? I just need space for my dog and my groceries and it to be economical.
Electric, maybe an electric car.
Yeah. An electric too.
Okay. My question is, where is your next vacation? Where's your next travel destination going to be?
On Thursday, today's Tuesday, and on Thursday we're going to Valladolid, which is an hour drive, but it has a bunch of ancient ruins here that we've never seen, and it's one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world.
No way. Okay. Outside of Mexico, what's your next country that you guys want to go to? What's your next country?
Oh, my dream country is Greece.
Me too. Santorini.
Really?
Santorini.
I've never been. It's such a dream to me. Everything about the bread and olive oil and Jesus sandals.
Have you been to Italy? Have you been to Mediterranean?
Yeah, I've been to Rome, but that's about it.
Oh, I love Italy. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Those are my rapid fire questions just to get to know you.
Let's go to Greece, girl.
I'm ready. Oh gosh. As soon as the travel stuff lifts, I'm
right.
I'm waiting patiently. Oh my gosh. So Hanna, where can people find you if they want to know more about you or more about your coaching or anything?
Yeah. So dreamlifeisreallife.com is where you can find most things. And it's also just a positive affirmation to type that in. Dream life is real life. And on Instagram, I'm Hanna Hermanson _. There are only 2 H's in the whole thing. I don't have an H at the end of my first name.
HANNA.
Yep.
A for cool, A for apple.
I'm always forward. A lot of Hannahs can go backwards. I'm always forward.
Yeah. Makes sense. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This has been so awesome. And I hope some of the listeners out there got a little bit of a nugget of information that maybe can inspire you. If you are on the fence today about living your dream life, let's get you going. Let's get you on the right track. So thanks everybody for watching and have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast. To learn more about the topics mentioned on today's show, please visit sweetcoachtavia.com.